be the film's cost, reverse that. That appears to be the film's budget, not the film's cost. In other words, it's what was budgeted prior to 2 reshoots and huge changes to CGI and all of that.
Disney is bleeding millions, and a big part of the problem? Snow White's lead actress, Rachel Zegler. She's a PR nightmare, constantly stirring controversy and dragging down a project that was already on shaky ground. The entire cast and crew worked tirelessly to bring this film to life, but thanks to Zegler's missteps and Disney's own questionable decisions, Snow White is shaping up to be more of a shipwreck than a fairy tale revival. Let's start with the budget, because Disney has truly outdone itself this time. The production cost has already ballooned to an eye-watering $269 million, and that's before marketing expenses. Typically, marketing adds about half of the production budget, meaning this film could end up costing around $400 million. That's a jaw-dropping number for a movie about a princess singing to woodland creatures. But here's the real kicker. Snow White wrapped filming all the way back in July 2022, yet Disney still managed to rack up massive reshoot costs. Why? No one really knows. It feels like they're throwing money at problems they can't fix, hoping something, anything, will salvage this sinking project. Now, Disney has a history of high-budget successes. Take Beauty and the Beast, 2017. It cost $255 million, including marketing, but raked in a massive $1.2 billion at the global box office. The problem? Snow White is not Beauty and the Beast. The current Hollywood landscape is a lot grimmer for Disney, with flops piling up over the past 2 years. Sure, there have been a few exceptions like The Little Mermaid and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but those are outliers, not the trend. With mounting costs, endless controversies, and an increasingly skeptical audience, Snow White is looking less like a magical comeback and more like Disney's latest multi-million-dollar disaster.
Unless if it is in China here, which is probably where they're trying to appeal. I don't see a brown Snow White appealing in China. That's not me making a comment about my own proclivities, just the Chinese market here.
With Snow White set to premiere in March 2025, analysts are already predicting a rocky start to the year for Disney. If this film flops, and let's be honest, the odds aren't looking great, it could deal a serious blow to the company's early financials. But money isn't the only problem. Snow White has been drowning in controversy since day one. Set photos and teaser footage have already sparked backlash, and that's before Disney even launches its full marketing campaign. And let's not forget the biggest PR disaster of them all, Rachel Zegler. Her dismissive comments about the original animated classic have alienated longtime fans, the very audience Disney desperately needs to win over. At this point, Snow White is shaping up to be less of a blockbuster and more of a cautionary tale, an expensive reminder that even Disney isn't immune to catastrophic missteps. This isn't just a movie, it's a gamble. And with each passing day, the stakes only get higher. If Snow White bombs, it won't just dent Disney's 2025 financials. It'll send a clear message to both audiences and investors. The studio's live-action remake strategy is running out of steam. So what can Disney do now? Realistically, not much. They've already poured so much money into this project that the only option left is to double down on marketing and hope for a miracle. But here's the brutal truth. Even with a massive marketing push, it's hard to imagine a scenario where Snow White meets expectations. The break-even point is so high it's practically in orbit. With an estimated $135 million in marketing costs stacked on top of the already bloated $269 million production budget, this film is shaping up to be an economic train wreck. Even if it somehow turns a profit, the margins will be so slim they won't justify the massive investment. Disney was hoping for a fairy tale ending, but at this rate, Snow White might just be their most expensive mistake yet.
Percent of the ticket price if you're the person who made the movie, and then the AMCs and the Kirasotis and the Cinemarks.
Disney isn't new to big budget gambles, but this one feels different. Unlike past hits like Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin, Snow White is drowning in bad press and fan skepticism. No matter how much Disney throws at marketing, it's starting to feel like tossing a bucket of water onto a raging fire. This battle at the box office is looking long and painful. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the princess in the castle. Rachel Zegler, the film's lead, has unintentionally become its biggest liability. From the moment she was cast, the internet erupted in debate. Many fans argued she didn't resemble the iconic character, a criticism Disney might have weathered had Zegler not gone on what feels like a one-woman crusade to alienate the very audience this film needs. First, there were her dismissive comments about the 1937 Snow White. Instead of honoring the movie that essentially built Disney's empire, she called it creepy and weird. For someone cast as the titular character, that level of disdain for the source material didn't sit well. Her remarks about the prince being a stalker and her dismissal of love stories as outdated tropes only made things worse. By the time she hinted that her co-star's scenes could be cut entirely, fans were left wondering, why should anyone care about this adaptation at all? If Zegler's controversial comments weren't already stirring the pot, her foray into political controversy sealed the deal. After the 2024 U.S. election, she made inflammatory remarks about supporters of President-elect Donald Trump. Now, everyone is entitled to their opinions, but publicly attacking a massive portion of the population isn't exactly the best way to promote a family-friendly blockbuster. At this point, Snow White isn't just facing skepticism, it's facing outright hostility. And with each misstep, Disney's fairy tale remake is looking less like a dream come true and more like a PR nightmare they can't wake up from.
And the problem is that when she comes out and does this, essentially what it appears she's trying to say is that she is a goddess, but she is a broken goddess. But people will line up to see a broken goddess.
The backlash was swift. Social media erupted with demands to recast Rachel Zegler, and the controversy quickly spilled into mainstream news. Even after issuing a public apology, the damage was done. Her words had already alienated a significant chunk of potential moviegoers. Parents who felt insulted weren't exactly rushing to buy tickets for a film starring someone who openly dismissed them. Behind closed doors, Disney executives were likely grinding their teeth with every viral tweet and news segment. It's one thing to face skepticism over casting or script choices. It's another to have your lead actor actively driving audiences away. Here's the harsh reality. Snow White isn't just a movie anymore. It's a PR minefield. Every dollar Disney pours into marketing now feels like a gamble. Do they lean into the controversy, hoping to turn bad press into curiosity-driven ticket sales? Or do they take the safer route, keeping Zegler out of the spotlight and focusing solely on visuals and nostalgia? The latter seems more likely, but even that isn't a guaranteed fix. The warning signs are already there. The teaser trailer was brutally received, racking up over 1 million dislikes on YouTube. If Disney's marketing can't shift public opinion, Snow White could end up an embarrassing box office disaster, on par with infamous flops like The Lone Ranger or John Carter. But the stakes go beyond just one movie. Snow White is a test of Disney's entire strategy. For years, the studio has relied heavily on live-action remakes, but the cracks in that formula are becoming impossible to ignore. If Snow White fails, it won't just be a financial hit. It'll be a wake-up call that Disney's magic touch might be wearing off.
Numbers of people are going to get over everything else surrounding this drama. Unfortunately for Disney, I think by the time they get to marketing this, they're going to be pushing a corpse of a film, and in my opinion, they should have used that as a tax write-off and just said that the whole thing got erased.
At this point, Snow White itself seems to have eaten a poison apple. A massive budget, a highly controversial lead actress, and a marketing campaign that hasn't even begun. Yet everyone already sees the writing on the wall. This movie is headed for disaster. Disney once hoped for a box office hit, but all they see now is failure. The moral of the story? Sometimes, it's better to cut your losses and walk away. Instead of pouring millions more into reshoots and marketing, Disney might have been wiser to shelve the project entirely and take the tax write-off. But at this stage, the damage is done, and the chances of recovery are slim. If nothing else, Snow White will serve as a lesson for Disney and Hollywood as a whole. Big budgets and brand recognition are no longer enough to guarantee success. Audiences want authenticity, respect for beloved characters, and a break from constant controversy. Will Disney learn from this massive misstep? Only time will tell. What do you think? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more cringeworthy updates on Snow White. See you in the next one.